Welcome to this Justin podcast by your host, Justin. And today is February 13th, 2021. And the trade deadline is coming soon. And there have been some rumors. Some rumors that the Brooklyn Nets are willing to trade Kyrie Irving in order to acquire some depth and defense. Now, I'll go ahead and say it. I think this is absolutely hilarious. I think it's a foolish idea for the Brooklyn Nets to trade Kyrie Irving. And I'll tell you why. Didn't the Brooklyn Nets, weren't they willing to trade all their depth and defense to acquire James Harden? They were willing to sacrifice that. And now all of a sudden, and let's think why they sacrificed that. They sacrificed that so they could get Kyrie Irving, Kevin Durant, James Harden on the same team because they believe those three talented players can win them a championship. Now, all of a sudden, they're going to stray from that, and in the midst of playing only 6 games together, the Big Three has only played 6 games. They're 4-2. Their first loss against the Cavs, it was their first game. Their second loss, Kevin Durant only played 19 minutes against the Raptors. So in reality, I'd make an argument they're 4-1, but if you want to say they're 4-2, sure. They have a winning record, but my point there, they have yet to play a lot of games together. They're still in the single digits. I've been consistent from the fact that I believe you give this team time, they will emerge to a championship quality team. But this idea that trading Kyrie Irving, it does not make much sense in my opinion. If the Nets wanted defense and depth and also wanted James Harden, why didn't they trade Kyrie Irving to acquire James Harden? Because the Houston Rockets were completely willing to do that trade. Completely willing to do that trade. The Rockets said, hey, at their first demands were, get me Kevin Durant or Kyrie Irving in a trade package. That was their first demands. So if you wanted to keep your defense in depth and also wanted to acquire James Harden, why not just trade Kyrie? Because Kevin Durant's going to be mad? Oh, well. He's under contract. He's under contract for a few more years. He has to play for you and win you a championship. Why do you care how he feels? And I'm not saying to be a complete jerk. I'm not saying that. But I'm just trying to find a logic in trading Kyrie Irving now. I don't think it's logical. I think once they made that trade for James Harden, they're all in. And you've got to continue to be all in and see where it can lead you. And while doing that, you have to continue to improve and play games. And the only way to improve is to play games. And they have only played 6 games. So, and everyone's similar to my first podcast. I was talking about the Brooklyn Nets, as a matter of fact. You know, a lot of people are still criticizing their defense. I personally think you need to give that time. I think you need to give this team time. And I think trading Kyrie Irving is a bad idea. If the Nets trade Kyrie Irving, it was a panic move. But I'm trusting that the Nets won't listen to guys, on the internet saying whatever they want to say and make the best choice, which is keeping Kyrie Irving and trying to build a championship team. Now, do I worry about the Brooklyn Nets problems that they have so far? Well, as I said, I know the reason for those problems, and I will assume they can and will fix them. But there does come a certain point in the season where you get a pretty good idea of how a team will look entering the postseason. And if this team by, after All Star break, hopefully we get it, man. Hopefully we get to see. Hopefully we get an All Star game. It would. I'd be pretty disappointed just as a fan if we didn't get it. But I think it. I would be concerned if these problems were to continue after these guys, the big three, played double-digit games and were continuing to be this bad defensively because they're all-time terrible. They're all-time terrible defensively, which means one thing: they can really only improve. It can only get better, and I expect it to get better. So I think, is there concern? Not really, in my opinion. And I definitely don't think it's concerning enough in which you want to trade Kyrie Irving. Kyrie Irving.